What's up everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sarah, this is Toby, and we're in the process of building out our van. So if you're interested to see how this goes, stick around and find out with us. Alright. Oh, you're
already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know.
Alright, so today we are going to apply the KILMAT onto the walls of the van. The very first thing I really wanted to do was cut out all the holes I needed to, because I really feel like getting that out of the way and literally getting it out of the way so it doesn't affect any other part of the build when you do it is the wise thing to do, but I really wanted to get it all done at once, and I only have my fan, I don't have my windows yet, plus it's raining outside anyway, so if I do it, it'll have to be a few days of sunshine because I don't want any moisture in the air whatsoever, so I might have to wait until spring, to be honest. So the first thing you should do as someone who doesn't know what they're doing, read the instructions. Well, let's see what we have here. Step 1. So in the instructions list, I actually forgot that I do need to remove a lot of the factory parts in this fan before I get started. And that includes this plastic piece, and then also, here, let me grab it. There are these tie downs all over the place in this fan that I do not need, and it's just gonna get in the way of when I install my subfloor. Although some of them, like this one, I think I'm gonna keep. I think this would be a great tie down for Toby, so I can hook him onto something when I'm out and about and I don't want him to run around. So I think I'm gonna keep this one, which is right in the front seat, and this one, which is right behind the right, is that the right side? The right wheel well. We'll see if it works out. I think it'll be just fine. I went ahead and I tore this panel apart. That panel is very flimsy. I mean, look at this. It was very easy to just destroy and take apart, but I am kind of struggling with getting these little bits and bobs off, so I need to find a tool to get that out. But the point of me doing that was so that I can get behind the panel and apply the KILMAT, and eventually when I'm ready, once I get to that point, put the insulation in there as well. I will be covering it with a wood panel eventually again once I get to that point, so this is just the preparation stage. Next thing that I'm currently doing is removing these D-rings. As I mentioned before, I'm already struggling, and fortunately the only struggle I'm experiencing is finding the right tool to efficiently get these out. I know I need a T40 star bit for it, and we absolutely have so many supplies here and tools. I just need a rummage for it, so that's where I'm at right now. I want to avoid purchasing things as much as possible, so I'll just be spending most of my time looking. All right, let's do this. I don't even know what a star bit looks like. I need to find my phone, 1 second. That's what it looks like, so let me find that. I think I'm realizing that this very first vlog, my very first day actually doing something to my van to get me to where I need to be, it's just been all trying to figure out what I have here to work with. And right now it seems like a lot, but it's also a lot of nothing. So Home Depot it is. I can't believe I'm already day 2 and trip number 2 to Home Depot. I didn't think I'd go back this soon, but here we are. All right, well, see you on the other side. Okay, so I wasn't planning on it, but I ended up getting, I'm sorry, it's so dark in here. I ended up getting a butcher block. I knew I wanted a butcher block for my counter space, but obviously I wasn't gonna get it until I started working on it. Home Depot had a sale, so who am I to not take advantage of a good sale on a product I'm gonna get anyway? Look at my bit. Can you see it? It is shredded. Okay, so I just destroyed 2 of my T40 star bits. I don't know what I did wrong. I'm guessing that these D-rings are just that tight. They're so tight. So before I picked up the power drill, I just wanted to see what size fit in the piece first. And so I used this initially, and even me trying to crank it, it was so hard. Like my wrists, they couldn't be bothered. So the electrical drill absolutely works, but there's some in here that just will not budge. Okay, well, I gotta figure out what to do next. I know I'm gonna do next. The ones that I did get out, I got 3 out. 3? Yeah, I got 3 out from the floor. So before my day ends, I need to make sure I seal it up. That was fun. Also, it stinks in here. It smells like paint. Okay, update. I found another bit and it worked. I got all of them except for 1 D-ring out. I did mean to keep 2 of them, the one right behind the passenger seat and the one right in the back. Those are staying because I think they're in great spots, but the third one that I wasn't planning on keeping is the other one in the back. And that is because I completely stripped it. Oh, there's water. I completely stripped it and I can't put the bit in there again. It was tight, man. It was so tight. There was nothing I could do about that one. So I got 3 D-rings sticking around for the rest of the life of Frida, or this van. I'm not sure what I'm gonna name her yet, but Frida sounds pretty good. But let me show you what happens after you remove the ring from the van, specifically the ones that are on the floor. So I took this one out already, and if you see this, it's a hole that goes right through. Hello. Oh, there you go. There's the driveway. So I need to seal that up. I'm still going to assume that when I removed the D-ring, it took a lot of effort. It probably stripped some of the paint, the natural paint from the van. So for good measure, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some primer, Rust Protectant on it, just for good measure. If you're wondering why I didn't go through the priming part of the van, I have a very simple explanation, and it's not backed up by anything. It's just information that I secondhand learned. So this van is fresh out of the oven. It's brand spanking new, and usually when vans get, or sorry, not just vans, but when vehicles are manufactured, they're dipped a million times in Rust Protectant paint. So I think it would just be overdoing it if I went ahead and applied Rust Protectant all over the van. It's absolutely reasonable and expected, and you should do it if it's a used van, especially if there's a lot of wear and tear and the paint got chipped off from the previous owner doing whatever the heck that they did with it. So highly recommend doing it if you have a used van. If you have a brand new van, do it if you want to. I'm not doing it, but anywhere that I accidentally set some scratches, like right here, I'm definitely gonna go over that again with protectant because I did that. Okay, let's get to it. All right, so now that the primer has had time to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and add this sealant that I found in the garage to seal up the hole. It is 1 hour rain ready, permanently waterproof silicone, waterproof, flexible, shrink and crack proof. Double stretch, 2-time stretch, withstands extreme joint movement. It sounds like the right thing, so we're going with it. Oh wow, that's not. All right, this is what it looks like wet. Okay, so I've made my first mistake. When I was removing the D-rings and filled it up with sealant, I used what I found in the garage. I was wondering why the holes were still wet, or the sealant was still wet, and I did it almost a week ago now. I looked it up, and it turns out you shouldn't be using old sealant, and when I looked at the expiration date on it, it expired in 2012. Fortunately, I only did it on the back 2, and the other ones I used lap sealant that I purchased recently, so now I just need to remove the old sealant and replace it with the new lap sealant that I have instead. So, because the other pieces that I used my new lap sealant with, it's already rubbery and dry. Not completely cured yet, but it's definitely not sticky and wet like these guys are. If you're looking to reuse products or materials that you already have at home, make sure that there's no weird expiration date on it because it does affect its integrity, that's for sure. So when you're playing around with lap sealant, you'll notice quickly that it gets really sticky and gets all over your fingers. I had some trouble getting it into the holes on the bottom of my van, or just sticking in there because it kept just coming off and staying on my finger. So if you're having issues like that, what helped was dabbing my finger in mineral spirits, and then it just slides right off. Good afternoon, it's the next day. I had already went ahead and chopped up a bunch of KILMAT so I can apply it to the walls of the van, and I went ahead and cleaned up the walls with mineral spirits. It got rid of a bunch of dirt and dog hair and everything, so it should be ready to go. So the instructions do say that the best temperature to install this with is about 53 degrees. It is 57 degrees here today, but I'm imagining it's still just a little colder inside the van. So I went ahead and put a heater in there, left it there for about 20 minutes, not really that long, and it's pretty warm. So I'm ready to start applying the deadening. Let's do this. One down. So I'm actually using this paint roller without the roller itself, and it's working perfectly. If you have one of these laying around, you don't need to buy anything special. This works great. I'm not gonna make you suffer through watching me put up every single one of these, so I'll get back to you on the next task. Okay, so I think that concludes that. I just finished sound deadening the entire van. The only areas I didn't do are right here on this side and that side, because that's where I plan to install my windows. And then I didn't do one little section up on the ceiling because that's where I'll be installing my fan. Hey, so it's been about 2 weeks. I'm in the middle of doing my subfloor. What I don't think I shared with you guys was my struggle with getting these pieces off of the doors of the van. And I figured out how to get it off with ease without any tools other than maybe a crowbar, or you don't even need a crowbar. You just need something to wedge in between this little circle piece. And I'm going to show you right now how to get it off with ease. And that way you can use these plastic covers as a template for when you fill that area with wood paneling, or if you want to put it back in, whatever, do whatever you want to do. But now we can all take it off with grace. Hey, okay, so this is the panel that I just pulled off from the back of the van. This right here is what was holding it into place. And this right here is what you want to remove if you want to take this off whole gracefully, you know? Because we want to be able to use this later as a template for when we apply wood paneling and what have you over there. Sitting in the wall, it looks just like this. Right here, it's closed. When it's open, removable, it's gonna look like this. Okay, you see that? The round part has 2 layers to it. So what you are going to want to do is hold that thought. I'm gonna go grab my tool. Okay, so to get it from closed to open, all you need to do is grab a tool, something like this, like a little flathead screwdriver, and get it in between the 2 layers. And then if you put enough pressure in it, it'll just pop open itself. You shouldn't have to, like, you know, do that. If you have to do it, go for it. If it's easier for you, but you really shouldn't have to. It should just pop open itself. And then once it's open, it just slides right off. And then here you are, freedom. Don't do what I did before. When I did this to my sliding door, I just ripped it apart. This stuff is cheap. It is very cheap and it's easy to tear apart. So I just did that. But then when I did it, I was left with these still stuck on the wall. All right, so that pretty much concludes everything that I got covered so far. A few things though. I didn't end up keeping the 2 D-rings that I wanted to keep in the back. They just completely got in the way of the subfloor, but it was a nice thought. It was wishful thinking, so I removed those entirely, but I did keep the D-ring that is sitting behind the passenger seat. Yeah, did you see that? I just finished my subfloor. Ooh. What I didn't share with you, which I was trying to, but I'm a silly goose and I didn't have my mic plugged in all the way on my camera. It would have been one thing if I didn't have it plugged in at all, but I probably still would have had audio, but instead I had some screechy noise. I got rid of these beams that were sitting on both sides of the van here and over there because I plan on putting windows there, and those beams really got in the way. So if you want to learn how to remove those, there's a bunch of videos out there that do a great job at explaining how to do that. What else? So that concludes that. Doing all the things I needed to do to prepare for the actual building process was absolutely necessary, and it helped so much with everything that I've gotten done so far today. And right now I'm actually in the middle of building out the framing for the van. I already finished the subfloor. That'll be the next video that you'll see. But currently I'm doing the framing and I need to get back to it. So yeah. Happy to have y'all here. If you were interested in seeing what you saw so far and you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps me out. Okay, bye. And whenever I say we, I'm referring to Tobi and I.